Off the bar, I'm too persistent. Whipping comment, no cast. Get it on my own, no collab. But a bar with me, that's a body bag.
Alright, so first of all, we got a reaction here, blood. You know what I'm saying, blood? Shout out to Futurology, blood, or what the hell is that name, blood? Futurology. I think it's Futurology, blood. You know what I'm saying, blood? But anyway, shout out to him. We got the world in 2050, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? That is not far away if you think of it, blood. So this right here is, I'm just gonna call cap from now on, blood, because we're in 2021, blood. This is not that far away. So what, bruv, the things that I was seeing, blood, you know what I'm saying, from like all here, blood, it's all a mad thing, fam. You know what I mean? I don't think this world's gonna be that advanced. Also, 150 years ago, this is probably what people thought the world was gonna be, with the flying cars and the sci-fi type floating cars with the mad roads and that, fam, and the traffic in the air and thing, blood. We're still not there, fam. You know what I mean? Obviously, blood, we still have technology in this time that if you took 100 years ago, blood, and you take it to them, they're probably calling you a witch, a wizard, and some more shit, fam. You probably get burned, banned, you know what I'm saying, hung, something, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? Stab you with bare pitchforks and I don't know. You know what I mean, blood? So yes, we have gone quite far, but the way human be dragging it, fam, and saying we're gonna be in some next type of world, fam, like it's some next outer planet type of technology, relax, fam. It's not that deep. This isn't that far away, fam. So I'm calling cap from now on. But let's see what he has to say, though, fam. You know
Our planet will be a vastly different place.
Robots, computers, and tech.
By 2050, artificial intelligence will be everywhere. AI-driven stores will allow you to purchase goods without cashiers or waiting lines. AI will diagnose and treat patients, manage transportation, and analyze massive quantities of data.
And that's the thing, though, this is all good, bruv. You know what I'm saying? With the enhancement of technology, it's all good, but the fact is the people above, the higher ups, this ain't even no conspiracy thing, fam, yeah? But this is just a fact, fam, that they take advantage. Even though all of this is good, even though that advancing technology, having certain things in your body might help you to basically navigate the open world and that, fam, you know what I mean, blood, throughout the day, so you don't have to be in waiting lines and this chipping you, and you know what I'm saying, it's all good, but at the end of the day, the people that create this technology, blood, you know what I'm saying, are going to take advantage, and that's what pisses me off, fam, you know what I'm saying, blood, that's what pisses me off, blood, you get me?
AI chatbots and voice recognition systems
will
exactly. Sound like
that's what I'm
behave.
saying. All that is good, but at the end of the day, the people that are making this technology, they're going to take advantage of it, blood, and violate your privacy in ways you could never think of, fam, you know what I mean? And that's what the problem is, fam. That's what my problem is with the technology, because I like technology. When I have my yard, bro, ain't tech out, fam, you know what I mean? But I know it's going to be at a price, fam, you get me?
Just like real people. AI will be implemented into robots. By 2050, robot dogs and other pets will serve as companions. Robots will dominate factories and begin to serve as teachers, cooks, pharmacists, law enforcement factories, and begin to serve as teachers, cooks.
These type of robots, I feel like are calm, blood. You know what I'm saying? The ones that like help you do things faster, but in like creating robotic animals and human beings, and that's where I think it's like taking that's where it's like we're taking it too far now, personally, fam. You know what I mean, blood? Because why the hell do I need to like, imagine me talking to a robotic, like imagine you going to a therapist and it's a robot sitting there, fam. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that are going too far, fam. You know what I mean?
Pharmacists, law enforcement officers, athletes, and other professionals.
Nah, blood, imagine, bruv, listen, I don't care, BLM, all of that, whatever you want to say, blood, but just imagine a robot cop, fam, with no emotion, blood. Human beings are already taking it way out of proportion with these stops and, you know what I'm saying, killing people for nothing. So imagine a robot doing that job, fam. Yeah, it'll be over for everyone, fam. It'll be over for everyone, I can't lie to you.
In 2050, universal translators will remove all language barriers, and voice recognition will be ubiquitous. Hundreds of sensors will be installed in our clothes, homes, and overall environment to monitor our well-being and improve in our clothes. Will be ubiquitous. Hundreds of sensors.
And she gotta be pregnant. She's gotta be pregnant, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Sensors will be installed in our clothes, homes, and overall environment to monitor our well-being and improve our lives. Computing will change. By 2050, we may run on quantum computers. Based on the properties of quantum physics, quantum computers could deliver massive leaps in computing power, outstripping any current transistor-based models. AI and computers will integrate into humans. Brain chips like Elon Musk's Neuralink will treat neurological disorders like...
I'm saying though, blood, because imagine bare people having robotic arms and legs. That's good, but any time that company could just hit a switch, next thing you know, your own arm strangling you, blood. Like, you know what I'm saying, blood? Like, you just don't know what could happen, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? You know, like Iron Man, blood, when his like suit is it's like 40 and that, and one leg's just like boosting out a rocket booster and that, fam. And man just better like, what if someone legs does that, sends them into the sky, turns off, and now they're dead, fam? You know what I mean, blood? Like, bro,
like Alzheimer's,
I'm
Parkinson's,
saying,
spinal cord injury, and blindness. These brain chips will allow people to control computers and prosthetics with no physical interaction. By 2050, we may be controlling things with our minds and communicating through brain signals. By 2050, robotic prosthetics may be stronger and more advanced than our own biological ones. Prosthetic eyes and ears will enter the market, curing blindness and deafness. And in 30 years, like AI, virtual reality will be everywhere. People will try on clothes in virtual reality closets, and holograms will bring FaceTime to a new level. VR platforms will allow you to move around while staying still.
As I'm saying, this ish, all the holograms and all of this count.
In virtual reality
all
closets,
of this,
in a
you'd like FaceTime someone and they're literally right in front of you, kind of like in the mad sci-fi films. That I feel like is too far-fetched for like 30 years. I feel like that's way more down the line, fam. You know what I'm saying?
Will bring
Obviously, I know that there's some mad technology in the world that we probably haven't even heard of. People are working on some mad ish, fam, you know what I'm saying? But before it actually reaches the average person and that, blood, you know what I'm saying? Just to go to the Apple shop and just buy, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's kind of like more down the line.
Time
you know
to a new level. VR platforms will allow you to move around while staying still. We will be able to travel the world and experience life on other planets, all from home. In 2014, 320,000 new electric vehicles were registered around the world. In 2019, that number was 2.3 million. By 2025, global EV sales are projected to surpass 10 million. And by 2050, the majority of automobiles will be electric.
Yeah, because now, blood, seeing a Tesla, before it was a rarity, now you just see them everywhere, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? Even the other day when I went to go, I was supposed to go play a football match. I went to go shoot some hoops. I'm dead at basketball, by the way, fam. I was just doing it so to just kill time and that. And by the little basketball court, there was literally like an electric car charger station, whatever you want to call them, and someone was literally charging their car, blood, you know what I mean? While I was just shooting around, fam. I'm telling you, they're bare popular now.
Gas stations will disappear and be replaced with at-home charging stations, refueling vehicles in as low as 10 minutes. Automobiles will become driverless. As of now, Tesla vehicles already have autopilot features that achieve level 2 automation on the Society of Automotive Engineers Vehicle Automation ranking. Other companies, such as Google, have invested billions of dollars into self-driving technology. Currently, it's expected that fully autonomous level 5 vehicles will roll out to consumers.
You see what I'm saying? Now this, I feel like, is a bit far-fetched. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that it doesn't already exist or it doesn't exist, but I'm saying before it's available to the average person for you to literally go online and be able to purchase this type of car, I don't think it's 30 years, like in 30 years time, fam. I feel like it's way more down the line, fam. This would be cold though, fam. You know what I'm saying?
In the late to mid 2020s and become commonplace.
Well, I wouldn't want everyone to see me though. That's a bit mad, fam. Where the tints at, fam? You know what I'm saying?
In the 2030s. By 2050, people will
like imagine that, blood. You can literally go on a road trip and just go brazy with your wife, blood. You know what I'm saying? You man could just be doing the mad thing while you're going from Chicago to LA, fam. You don't even have to do anything, fam. You know what I mean?
And become commonplace in the 2030s.
Driving trips would become very enjoyable
people
after
will be
that.
hopping into cars with no steering wheel. Thousands of autonomous vans and semi-trucks will travel cross-country, delivering packages and shipments with no human interaction.
This is mad.
Drones will do the same for shorter distances. By 2050, swarms of drones will be delivering small packages from...
See what I'm saying? Now, the car thing, that's calm, but imagine just bare drones just in the sky. Like, you might think it sounds cool, but after a while, it just might get annoying, fam. You know what I mean? And you don't know what these men are putting, what kind of cameras, what kind of mics they're putting on them, what they're monitoring. You know what I'm saying? Because the people that are making this stuff, you know what I'm saying? The government can tap into this type of issue at any time they want, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? Because... just more times the average person might not be doing something that illegal to the point where the government needs to tap into your thing, but at the end of the day, if they want to, they can, and that's the problem, fam.
Floating or vertical warehouses. There will also be surveillance and security drones, along with drones for construction, entertainment, and agriculture.
The say is for this stuff, but nah, man. It's all along
eVTOLs, or electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, will provide urban transportation. Currently, there are several working eVTOL aircraft.
Like, there's going to be a certain point, so I keep pausing, but there's going to be a certain point that for you to commit a crime in this type of world right here, blood, you're going to have an IQ of 1 mil, blood, you know what I'm saying, blood, to be able to do something illegal, fam, you get me? Because the average criminal, blood, ain't getting away with much, blood, when all these drones and technologies in the air, you know what I'm saying, when they can tap into this and that, fam, you're going to be able to get away with it.
Will provide urban transportation. Currently, there are several working eVTOL aircraft prototypes. The urban market for them is massive, and studies have revealed that the technology could become highly profitable. One of the companies working on eVTOLs is Uber, who wants to make aerial ride-sharing a reality. There's also Airbus, who have their drone-like Airbus pop-up concept. If Uber, Airbus, and other companies succeed, we could see widespread adoption of the technology. By 2050, cities will likely have air taxis everywhere.
What I'm saying is I ain't against it. I'm not against this at all, fam. You know what I'm saying? But just that I know that the people that are making this technology will 1000% take advantage of it if they want to and if they need to, blood. You know what I mean, blood? And the fact is, the problem with that is because they're not releasing it and saying it is for this, blood. They're just going to have some undermining ulterior motives behind the scenes that they won't tell you about, fam, and that's the problem, bro.
But that may not work.
That's the problem, bro.
Elon Musk says that roads must go 3D, which means either flying cars or tunnels. He believes the answer is tunnels. Right now, Elon Musk's Boring Company is digging small, experimental tunnels under cities. If Musk can significantly cut down boring costs, by 2050, cities will have thousands of tunnels underneath them. Another one of Musk's brainchilds, Hyperloop, will revolutionize long-distance land transportation. Hyperloop, the idea for vacuum maglev high-speed trains, could speed up to 700 miles per hour. A trip from Los Angeles to San Francisco would be only 43 minutes long, compared to a 6-hour car ride. By 2050, Hyperloop systems will certainly be constructed, and replacing airplanes may evolve into the most popular type of long-distance domestic travel. But for travel between...
You see, this type of ish I don't mind, fam. You know what I mean? Because it's just in terms of like travel and that, it's the little drones and the little, you know what I'm saying, all the Alexa type electronics and that, the mobile phones, the Bluetooth, those are the kind of stuff where you can monitor what you're doing and that. That's what I kind of have a problem with. The transportation thing, fam, hey, you man do you, fam. You get me?
Continents, airplanes will remain dominant. With improved batteries, we could see electric airliners take to the skies. In addition, several companies are working to bring back supersonic aircraft. These aircraft are certainly not airliners, but small-scale jets meant to carry only 10 to 100 people. By 2050, we could have Concorde-like, but safer, supersonic aircraft soaring through the skies. Or, as an alternative to airplanes, what if we traveled around in rockets? Well, Elon Musk wants to use his Starship to transport people all around the world soon. In Musk's Starship, one could travel from New York to London in only 29 minutes. Our energy system is transforming. Over the past decade, the cost of solar power has plummeted. Due to economies of scale and improved technology, the price of solar equipment has dropped by 89% since 2010. The cost for wind power has plunged as well. Due to these decreases, new solar and wind investments are usually cheaper than natural gas and coal investments. However, renewables
still... saying, blood, you know what I'm saying? I'm half Gambian, half Jamaican. I don't plan to live in England forever. So when I am, blood, solar, blood, you know what I'm saying? Them kind of things there, blood, that's what I'm trying to use in that, blood, you know what I mean?
Have one major setback: energy storage. For utility-scale systems, renewables need a way to store excess energy from windy and sunny days for cloudy and calm days. To help with this, researchers are developing new methods to store large amounts of energy. Some examples include storing energy as heat in materials, compressing air, or turning air into a liquid. Although it remains to be seen which method is best, these solutions will certainly be implemented for large-scale utility in the future. By 2050, renewables are expected to provide nearly half of all world electricity. But that's not all. As solar and wind begin to dominate the energy sector, fusion power will rise. Currently, fusion power is purely speculative. However, 35 nations are collaborating on ITER, a $20 billion project in France to test the feasibility of fusion for power generation. ITER will work by creating a fusion-powered plasma inside an experimental machine. The walls of the machine will absorb the energy, using it to produce steam that will generate electricity with turbines. ITER's first plasma is planned for December 2025. By 2050, we could have fully functional fusion power plants, operating more efficiently than any other power source in history.
The second space race.
With NASA's Artemis program, it's planning to land humans back on the moon by 2024. SpaceX, Dynetics, and Blue Origin are all working on landers for the project. After the
You know what I'm
moon,
saying? Like, GTA apparently was supposed to come out in 2020, this in 2020, it never happened. You know what I'm saying, blood? So people can assume and estimate, but will it really though, fam? You know what I'm saying?
NASA wants to send humans
Like,
to
if
Mars
something as simple as a GTA can't come out compared to these things, like, I have no hope. I have no hope.
sometime in the
I have no
2030s.
hope.
SpaceX is even more ambitious. They are developing the Starship, a rocket that they hope will send humans to Mars by 2024. Once they get there, SpaceX plans to establish a permanent colony. By 2050, Elon Musk plans to have a Martian city with as many as 1 million people. SpaceX is also developing Starlink, thousands of satellites that will provide the world's most advanced broadband internet system.
You see, it's like this, fam. You know what I'm saying, blood? Where people can just take the absolute piss with your private, you know what I'm saying, blood? Like, it's like this. Now I start to have a problem with the technological advancements and that, fam, where technology is going and that, blood, you know what I mean?
Satellites that will provide the world's most advanced.
Because it's not even a situation of I have anything to hide or I'm doing anything illegal, but it's just like, imagine just finding out your neighbor was tapped into your phone wires or whatever, bro. You feel violated, fam. You know what I'm saying? And it's that exact same, that exact same, feeling that you probably would have, fam. You know what I mean, blood? Like if your neighbor was tapped in or using your Wi-Fi or whatever, bro, or found out that they were spying on you, fam, and they had some next cameras and that in the corners I did, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna feel violated, blood. And that's exactly what I mean, blood.
Advanced broadband internet system. Other space companies such as Blue Origin, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Virgin Galactic are all racing for space as well. In 30 years, we might have a permanent colony on the moon, space hotels in orbit, and humans on Mars. By 2050, our food consumption will be wildly different, mostly due to meat. Livestock contributes to 15% of human greenhouse gas emissions and uses 26% of the Earth's terrestrial surface. To feed our growing population while lowering emissions, we must move away from meat. Assisting with this are meat alternatives. Companies like Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods have
food industry. Obviously, you might have heard the rumors of McDonald's is made from humans and babies and this and that. The meat doesn't expire, fam, blah, blah, blah. But this is the type of issue, fam. The fact that obviously I get what they're saying, fam, but if you're trying to cut it out, I'll say just cut it out completely, blood, because what's in the alternative? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be meat what's in them, blood, you know what I'm saying? And they'll never truly tell you what's in them because there's always an ingredient at the back of everything. But that doesn't mean what's on the back is actually in there, or what they haven't listed isn't in there, fam. You know what I mean, blood? So it's like, what is actually in the alternative? Personally, if you're cutting out meat, just try cut out meat like completely, blood, and just turn everyone vegan, fam. You know what I'm saying? Personally, that's the best thing, fam, and just eat naturally.
have obtained
And even when you say naturally, people are still putting chemicals and this and that into tomatoes to make them bigger, and watermelons to make them juicier, and mangoes to make them bigger and juicier. Like, you know, it's just too much, man.
billion-dollar valuations, supplying the rapid.
It's like nothing in the human world is left untampered, fam. You know what I mean? Like humans just have to dig in and just ruin everything.
And Impossible Foods have obtained billion-dollar valuations, supplying the rapidly growing meat alternatives market. In addition, plant-based diets as a whole are growing in popularity. Then there's cultured meat. Cultured meat is meat produced by in vitro cell culture.
Yeah, I'm good, fam. You'd never eaten that.
It avoids the slaughtering of animals and produces very
that.
minimal emissions.
Never eating that. Never eating that.
2050, we will likely have in vitro T-bone steaks produced for the masses.
I'm good. You man can have that.
To meet the demand for increased plants in the growing population while escaping the uncertainty of the changing climate, farms will move indoors, vertical, and into cities. The vertical farming market is exploding. By 2050, there will be large-scale vertical farms all around the world, feeding the growing population while using very little land and water. As our food consumption transforms, biotechnology will advance. While prosthetics replace large organs, stem cells will regenerate injuries and diseases. Stem cells, which can be guided into becoming a wide variety of specific cells, will be used for therapies. Eventually, like brain chips, stem cell therapy
See what I'm saying?
cells will be used for therapies.
See what I'm saying?
Eventually,
every single thing, it has to do with something that infiltrates you and who you are, blood, and your fat. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like they can't just create something, fam. There has to be a chip this, a chip that, fam. It's created through scientists, through this and that, fam. You know what I'm saying? But like, bruh, like, come on, man. Like, this type of issues are the problem with, fam. You might just a chip in your brain, fam. They might literally own you, fam. Like, bruv, you're basically already owned, fam. You know what I'm saying? In so many different ways. Like, this is just taking it to an even different level, fam. You know what I'm saying?
eventually, like brain chips, stem cell therapies could help those with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, but also those with type 1 diabetes, heart disease, burns, cancer, arthritis, and all sorts of other diseases. Another biotechnology is gene editing. Using CRISPR/Cas9 technology, scientists can now remove strands of DNA that are causing illnesses and replace them with different ones. In the future, scientists hope to cure lifelong inherited diseases with this technology.
Oh, climate change.
While we decarbonize the world's economy, we will utilize carbon removal technology. Carbon capture and storage will catch carbon emissions from a source and then transport them underground, leaving the atmosphere unaffected. Advanced technologies will remove carbon directly from the air.
And obviously, you know, it's a trade between us and wildlife and that, fam, so it's not necessarily doing bad damage when they put it on the ground and
seawater.
You know what I'm saying?
Additionally, some minerals naturally react with carbon dioxide, and we can use them to convert carbon from gas into a solid. It's not sure which of these strategies is best, but in the future, we will certainly see their widespread implementation. If you enjoyed this video, it would be amazing if you like and subscribe. Also, remember to check out the comments and join the conversation. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Alright, so shout out to Futurology, fam. Nice video, fam. Gave us some different types of insight. You mind let me know your thoughts down below as well, fam. And I'll catch you man in the next one. It's your boy manlykenjies, and I'm out here, fam. In a bit, people, man.
Bar after bar after bar after bar after bar, I'm too persistent. Whipping comment, no cast. Get it on my own, no collab. But if a bar with me, that's a body bag. Your mans want smoke, then he leaves with a toe tag. Whole squad hit with a double mag Glock. Got left in the street and the body's getting chucked. Bullets with names and your shit's getting popped. Better be with me and the bag's getting cocked. Still gotta chase the bag, humble. Ain't gotta brag in the league on my own, and my stats getting flagged. Hit me for the feet, got verses in stats. Come through like the queen, gotta pay that tax. Premium, sir.